Hey, it's the Mad Queen. Welcome into the Queen Slayer. This is another all about video spotlight where I just dive into one of the heroes within the game. If you're interested in learning more information about other heroes like this, I have an entire playlist dedicated to going over all the heroes within the game that you can check out on the main channel of my YouTube. It's also linked, or the entire playlist is actually linked at the end of this video too. So you can also click on it there after you watch this if you'd like. In this, I am going to be going over quite a few things. We're going to talk about his base stats, his abilities, his ascension, masteries, different builds, hero pairings, and also I will be going and rating him everywhere in the game. You do that here in this section. That is going to be the very last thing I do though. So if you're interested in seeing where I have to rate him, you're going to have to stick around until the end to see that. So Ghajar is a wood element hero. He is an offensive hero and he's an epic. So as a wood hero, he's going to deal more damage to water element heroes that are blue, and he's going to take more damage from red heroes or fire element heroes. As an offense, that means he was created for the purpose of dealing damage. I will say that Ghajar is a very unique hero. He is not new by any means. He's been out for quite some time, and I'm surprised that there isn't really any content released on him. I haven't really been able to find any guides or anything like that, so I really wanted to, of course, make the video because of that, but also I am trying to do everybody, or, trying to make a video on everybody. First, let's go ahead and look at all of his base stats. I will mention, again, I always do mention this, just in case it's your first time watching one of these. My guy is at level 60 right now. If you have yours at 50 or 40 or 70, whatever the case may be, your base stats will be different. So it's honestly just depends on where you have them. You can't see, I do have my Ghajar fully ascended. So he's been ascended 6 times. I have all of his abilities finished and all of his glyphs done too. I have used him quite a bit, but that was more so in the beginning stages of the game. He does not get used quite as much. And he still can be used by people that are trying to progress. But, if you've been playing for a while, then you probably aren't going to be using him in very many places. So as far as his stats, we have 859 attack, which is really bad for an offensive hero. He has 6,000 health, which is not bad. 484 defense, not good at all. 119 speed, and 6% crit rate. So whenever you first take a look at him, I think, honestly, I remember whenever I first saw him in the game, I thought he looked super cool. And if you've already read his kit, you know that it sounds like he has a lot to offer. He has a lot of potential in there. So let's go ahead and read through these. His trait, Venom Influx, when a team member applies poison to an enemy, has a 20% chance to apply resistance down and unhealable to the same target for 2 turns. Whenever you have this ascended, it's going to be a 30% chance to apply these instead of 20, which really is not that big of a difference, But poison, of course, is going to deal damage at the end of the turn to whoever it's on based on their max health, at their overall health at the end of the turn. No, their max health, yeah. And then resistance down is just going to mean that it's going to be easier for you to land debuffs, so you're not getting resisted and you wouldn't need quite as much focus. And then unhealable, so the enemy that has this will not be able to heal at all. Wait, I'm sorry. It excludes lifesteal. Okay. So his basic Venomous Undercut, it deals 100% damage to an enemy with a 30% chance to apply poison and focus down to the target for 2 turns. Man, and it's so low, I just don't understand. Everything is so low, the percentages. But if you do masteries, you can get that up to 50%. And we'll get into masteries here in a minute after we get through all this. Next is his special, Viperous Potion. Deals 150% damage to an enemy and applies poison to the target for 2 turns. This attack has a 50% chance of dealing 50% splash damage to other enemies, plus poison for 2 turns. And then lastly, the Virulent Roar. Virulent, oh my goodness, I don't know. His roar deals 200% damage to an enemy and detonates all of their poison effects. So clearly you can see that this guy is based around poison. And honestly, he could be better than what he is if we weren't looking at things like, 50% chance here, 30% chance here, 20% chance here. That's just so low, even for an epic hero. That's what you would see on an elite hero, in my opinion. And I don't know, it's just not good. So also, for being an offensive hero, he is built kind of weird. There has been many testing by a lot of different people over, the course of us playing the game. At least for myself, I've been playing for a long time. I did multiple builds for him. I don't have any gear on him right now, and I don't have a set build to put on him as of now. But I am going to go over the different sets you can put on him and the stats that you want to look to build. So for him, if you want him to, land these debuffs, if that's the purpose that you want him for, he's going to need focus, or else he's going to be resisted. But honestly, he has such a low percent of a chance to actually put on any of these debuffs that it's not worth it to build any of that into him. The one thing people actually do use him for is his ultimate. He deals 200% damage to an enemy and detonates all of their poison effects. So if you're, pairing him with Gangelo and Santis, which are 2 of his very best pairs in the game, he's going to be able to detonate all of those poisons sooner and do a lot of extra damage. You will not build attack, crit rate, and crit damage into this hero, although he is an offensive hero. I have tried many times building him with attack-based stats and also turning around and building him with defensive, tankier stats, I guess you could say. And that is the route that you're going to want to take with Ghajar. When you're gearing him, you want to make sure that you're giving him a lot of health and defense. Again, if you would like to have the option of, him maybe landing one of these debuffs, you could put focus on him for sure. How much you need is going to depend on where you're trying to use him at. But again, the chances are so low that it's really not worth it. He really can do a lot of damage, though, with this ultimate. It's just, I don't know, his kit overall is just very meh, And poison works so quickly if you have Gangelo anyways that it's just like, it's not worth it, because he doesn't really do any extra damage based on his overall attack, which is insane. Why doesn't he? He literally, even if you built him with an insane amount of attack, crit rate, and crit damage, he almost does no additional. You can't really tell much of a difference. So just go for, if you do want to use him, go for putting in those, health and defensive stats. As far as his masteries, I would not put masteries into him ever. Okay? Don't prioritize this guy in any means. Honestly, if you ever think about putting masteries into him, make sure that you've got like almost every other hero in the game with their masteries finished before you even look at this guy. He does not have many uses. He is primarily, or has primarily been used in 2 specific dungeons, which I'll get into when we go here, but he falls off, honestly, pretty quickly, which is unfortunate. and you just don't get a lot of utility out of him. So as far as his ascension, you get that at the 5th ascension, which again, for it only going up like 10% chance to apply these. Why is it on Ascension 5? This is terrible. It's terrible, so it should not be Ascension 5. This guy desperately needs a rework. Oh my goodness, I thought that my game was going to totally like freeze and crash on me. Thankfully, it did not. But like I said, Santis and Gangelo, Valuk would also be a pretty decent option. Anybody that's really going to be able to apply a lot of poison consistently. As far as gear goes, you don't need anything really special on him. If you are trying to, potentially use him to get some poisons on, some extra poisons with your main poison heroes, you could use a curse set so that he has a 35% chance to take an additional turn. But again, really, it is such a low chance that it's not worth it. You can use Revival if you have a hard time keeping him alive, because that is going to heal him for a certain amount on each of his turns. And then you can really put a lot of basic sets on him. The Terror set, the Vanguard set, and the Raptor set as well. So the Raptor set's just going to give him, increased focus if you do want to go that way. But if you just go for a Vanguard and a Terra set, you're probably going to be fine. Just a lot of health, a lot of defense, like I mentioned. So lastly, we're going to take a look here at his ratings. I do want to say, as I'm going through this, before I rate him everywhere, do not pay attention to the hero ratings in the game, please. Some of them are accurate, but most of them, like 95% of the time, are not, because people are rating these heroes before they have a good understanding of how they fit into the game and their uses. So sometimes you're going to see that heroes are rated really good in places when you're just like, huh? So keep that in mind. But that's also why I like to show myself doing it. As far as arena offense, my goodness, we're going to go with 2-star. Arena defense, oh my gosh, I'm going to go with 1-star. No Man's Land Bane Wraith, we can give him a 3-star there. Flame Lizard, I'm going to give him a 2-star. Just know that if you're using him in a place where he's a weak affinity, you're going to have even more focus than you would if you were going to use him in, content where he was either having an affinity bonus or he was going against the same affinity. Did I do this one? Yes. Okay. No Man's Land Wraithful Flood. I'll give him a 4 stars. He's not bad here. No Man's Land Lord of Holy Light. I'll give him 4 stars. Shadow Captive, we'll go 4 stars. Roaring Tulpa, 3 stars. Ash Magisteria, don't even try it. Don't even try it. The Queen of Tides. Man. When I'm rating these, I do try to keep in mind that, there are so many stages now. And with all of the heroes, I'm going to give him a 3-star. Same with Witch of the Wind, 3-star. Gemini Dragon, I'm going to actually give him a 4-star in Gemini Dragon because he has his most usable places are going to be in the Gemini and Queen of Tides. Again, you don't see a lot of people doing that anymore, but it is an option if you're still progressing. You're really probably not going to see him used in like any hell teams though. There may be very occasional instances where you might, but overall, no. And in the Armored Incursion, no. Just no. I would really love to see them do something different with this kit. Honestly, I don't think that they probably ever will, but you never know. So if I was unclear about anything, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave that down below in the comment section of the video. I would be more than happy to answer any kind of questions there. Also, join my my growing Discord community. The link is in the description of the video. Also, well, not also, and thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.